Our final presenter of this session is Nicole Duncan, Managing Director of NickelSearch Limited. I'll hand it over to you, Nicole, to run us through the NickelSearch story.
Thank you, Courtney. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Courtney, for that introduction. For me to present what I believe is the best nickel sulfide exploration opportunity in Australia today. I'm not one to overstate. I'm a lawyer by training, and it is a big claim. The best nickel sulfide exploration opportunity in Australia today. And you may not know about NickelSearch because we only listed late last year, and we've been taking the time to get the fundamentals in place. So today, now, is the right time for you to hear about NickelSearch. But first, let me take you to our beautiful part of Australia. I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the lands on which we operate, the Wurundjeri people of the Noongar Nation. I pay my respects to all Aboriginal people and to elders past, present, and emerging. So I said that NickelSearch is the best nickel sulfide exploration opportunity in Australia today. Let me tell you why. We represent great value, we are in a prime location, and we have the fundamentals in place to perform. And I'll take you through each of these. In terms of great value, you can see here on the slide that compared to our peers, we are significantly undervalued. This slide shows you tons of contained nickel and enterprise value. And if you look at NickelSearch's tons of contained nickel and our enterprise value, we are a compelling proposition. And this is before we do any greenfield follow-up drilling or exploration work. And our shareholders know that we are great value. We enjoy very good support from institutional investors, both here in Australia and internationally, including Sprott, and we have very solid buy-in from board and management, as you can see here. We have on our register our largest shareholder, Medallion Metals. They are our neighbour in Ravensthorpe, and they vended in their nickel rights to NickelSearch so that we could focus on nickel and Medallion can focus on gold and copper. So I congratulate Paul and the team for recently reaching over a million, so I think it's 1.1 million ounces of gold or 1.4 million ounces of gold equivalent. Well done. So the NickelSearch share price, our market price, we've been impacted by global economic factors just like everyone else. But our fundamental business has not changed since we listed late last year. I'm just taking the time to remember my next slide. I'm doing well. All right. You can see now that our share price, I haven't checked today, which is why I just did a blank. I think it's 13 cents. It might have gone to 14, or it's just gone to 12 with that stumble. But anyway, you can see that our share price, it really is a compelling value, and that is before we do any of our large greenfield drilling campaign. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. And you can see that we are well funded. We can deliver this drilling campaign and do more exploration follow-up and then update the market on our greenfields potential. So the right time for you to join us is now, before we kick off that extensive drilling campaign. So you can see that NickelSearch represents great value. But that is not the only reason why we are the best nickel sulfide exploration opportunity in Australia today. We are also in a prime location. I can say we're in a prime location because we are in an established nickel province with well-serviced infrastructure, and we also have great neighbours, which as a nickel sulphide company is a wonderful opportunity. We have IGO's Forrestania in the same greenstone corridor as our Carling Up project. Forrestania is also a komatiitic nickel sulphide operation, and as is Carling Up, and I'll explain why that's important. Being in an established nickel province is important because it means that all of the factors that were needed for nickel sulphide were in our area when the Earth's crust was forming. This cross-section shows our deposit model. The basement rock is the brown, and the lava flowing through the channels is the purple. The lava was flowing over channels in the basement rock, and as it was flowing, it was grabbing everything in its path, including sulphur. And the sulphur mixed with the lava, and it creates nickel sulphide in the lava. But the important thing is that it is a very turbulent flow. And as it's flowing, the nickel sulphide is coming together and it's forming larger nickel sulphide bodies. And those bodies are heavier than the lava. And so they then sink to the bottom of the channel and they sit at that contact point between the lava and the basement rock. And they sink in pods. So as you go along the channel, you see these pods forming at the basement of the lava flow. And that's why we need to drill to that contact point between the basement rock and the cooled lava, because that's where the nickel sulphide will be sitting. We have 108 square kilometres of tenements in this particular prime location. History and science tell us that more nickel sulphide should be there. How do we know this? We know this because our tenements host RAV8, and RAV8 was a producing nickel sulphide mine. They produced 16.1 kilotons of nickel at 3.45%, including 9.6 kilotons of nickel at 5.83%. You can see RAV8 here at the start of our tenements. And if you remember what I just said, you follow along the path. If you go along our path, we have We have RAV8, RAV5 here, RAV1 along that path, including RAV4 and 4 West. And so you can see that nickel sulphide is there, but the really compelling question for us is what more is there at depth, well below surface? So being in a prime location for nickel sulphide is not just about the amount of surface you have, but also what could be sitting at depth. I said it's important that we're with Forrestania in the same greenstone corridor, and let me explain this. Carling Up has the same ultramafic rock as Forrestania, of the same age, so formed at the same time. And Forrestania has this same notion of nickel sulphide channel deposits, or pods, and you can see them on this cross-section. You have first Flying Fox, then New Morning, then Sunrise, then Spotted Quoll, all along this trend. But an important feature for us about Forrestania is their tremendous depths. They are operating at a kilometre to a kilometre and a half below surface. So that means that the opportunity at depth at Carling Up is even more compelling. Our Carling Up project has numerous sulphide deposits relatively close to surface, but no one has explored systematically across our tenements, and no drill hole has gone deeper than a couple of 100 metres, as you can see on this slide. I point you to the top of this slide. So our prime location includes what is sitting at depth. This cross-section view of Carlingup, you can see that historical drilling really has only just scratched the surface. The drilling was focused on laterites and near-surface nickel. Here in this, the sulfides would be sitting at the intersection between the purple ultramafic rock and the pink basement rock. But you can see that no drilling has gone that deep. And that's why we are so excited about the potential. We can't guarantee that more nickel sulfide is there, but if it is there, we are going to find it. And I can say that because we have the team in place to do it. Our fundamentals include our approach to greenfields exploration, our team in place, and our approach to business. I'll talk about greenfields. Our fundamentals include our thorough approach to identifying greenfields targets. Basically, we're applying modern exploration techniques to a large parcel of land that has been sitting, waiting to be brought into 2022. We have layered all of the information that we've collected over our tenements, and we are going to be drilling where all that data directs us. So what have we done? We have flown airborne EM, we've looked for sources of sulfur, we've improved our mapping and therefore our understanding of the geology. We have done ultrafine soil sampling, and we've done downhole EM and fixed loop EM. So we've done a lot of work. We haven't rushed in. We've taken our time to study, and we're going to drill where all that data directs us. On this slide, what's important to understand is that the colour purple is positive. The colour purple circles are showing you the soil sampling results. The colour purple stars are showing you the airborne EM. So you can see there's a lot to be excited for. Through our work across our tenements, we have identified over 30 greenfields targets. 11 of those 30 targets are priority 1, and we are weeks away from being able to start to drill. And we have the team in place to do it. We have the fundamental capability to deliver on our promises. Andy Pearce, he joined our team as exploration manager. He has a great pedigree in nickel sulfides from time at WMC, BHP Nickel West, and most recently Poseidon Nickel. Tamsin Senders is focused on our processing options. Tamsin is one of Australia's leading scientists in the field of bacterial heap leaching. And Leo Horn, he rounds out our team, our technical team, as senior advisor. He has over 20 years' experience in greenfields exploration. So you can see that we are punching well above our weight in terms of capability. And as for me, at this morning's session alone, 6 of your presenters, 6 of the managing directors you're seeing have been at BHP. So of the 12 people before lunch, half of them have been at BHP, and I'm one of them. I'm really privileged to have come from such a high-quality stable of executives, of mining professionals, and I have a lot of experience in my 16 years at BHP and my 7 years at South32 in building high-performing teams, in creating transformational cultures, and in finding what is fit for purpose. So why did I join a junior explorer? Why did I join NickelSearch? I joined because we have incredibly capable people. We are a small, high-performing team. I joined because we have such an incredible opportunity ahead of us to make discoveries and to build mines. And I joined because we are very serious about our ability in a direct and tangible way to make a difference for our community and for the world at large in terms of sustainability. And our approach to sustainability starts now. Thank you. Excellent. All right, our fundamentals include the way that we are careful about the sustainability of our footprint. This has been instilled into the NickelSearch team, into the very fabric by the founding shareholders, who have held these tenements for years, some since the 1990s, waiting for the right time to develop them. The founding shareholders, they lived in Ravensthorpe, they worked in Ravensthorpe, they raised their children in Ravensthorpe, and they still to this day feel a part of the Ravensthorpe community. And so that means the NickelSearch team is very careful and understands that we must be a constructive and long-lasting member of the community. But what does that actually look like in practice? So an example is up here for you on the screen. It's an example of how we collect our drilling water when we're on their lands doing drilling. Historically, water's been collected using below-ground sumps. We have opted to collect the water in above-ground sumps so that we can have a visual tool to make sure we are collecting all of the water that we are producing during our drilling. And we do that so that we can make sure that we are incredibly careful about how we then dispose of that water, because we do not want to impact the operations of our neighbours, including the local farmers. Last point, our founding shareholders have been also able to see what happens within a local community when a mining operation shuts down. And so that means that at NickelSearch, we are very careful about how we go about building a business that can withstand the inevitable commodity cycles. So yes, we are extremely excited about the long-term demand for nickel, but at the same time, we are being very careful to make sure that our business can run during a low demand scenario. And that means being very prudent about our growth trajectory and being careful about our entrenched cost base. So I'll finish here. Oh, thank you. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to the NickelSearch investment opportunity. As I said at the outset, I believe that we are the best nickel sulfide exploration opportunity in Australia today. We represent great value. Our story is not yet well known, so now is the right time for you to join us. We are in a prime location. Logic and science tell us that nickel sulfide is there. We just need patient capital and the ongoing support of our shareholders to find it. And we also have the fundamentals in place. We have the right people, we have the right approach to find that nickel sulfide at depth. And we are focused on building a business that will produce nickel sustainably through the cycles. So thank you to the organisers of Diggers and Dealers for including NickelSearch in the stable of companies to showcase, and for including me on this outstanding panel. Thank you, Courtney. And I encourage you all, since you don't have all that many booths you can visit today, come and talk to Andy and Tamsin and I. We're at booth E9. We'd love to take you through more detail about the NickelSearch story. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. We're up against the time there, so there'll be no time for questions.